Welcome to the Smart Zone Network Controller demonstration series for the Smart Zone OS 5. In this series, we'll be covering the new features available on the Smart Zone OS 5. In this demonstration, I will be covering the multi-tunnel enhancement, where multiple tunnels can be established and forward traffic from each AP based on its SSID or wireless LAN association. So let's get started. So to understand this feature in more detail, let's look at the key aspects of it. First, this enables the zone to have multiple tunnel environments, meaning that we can have the ability to have multiple tunnels forwarding that traffic from each AP, and that can be specific from the SSIDs that you've configured on it. This enhancement provides the ability for you to have up to 4 different tunnels, one to your Ruckus GRE tunnel, to your Smart Zone data plane, and then optionally 3 other software GRE tunnels to external GRE gateways. And each one of those can have a failover configured on it as well. So each one of these tunnels are independent. You can enable them or disable them or change them. And the stats and config is maintained on a per tunnel on each one of the APs that you can go into. We will not go into the details of exactly being able to pull that, but do know those stats are viewable on the AP CLI. So the concept here is that I can configure an SSID, allowing it to forward its data traffic down a specific tunnel that I have configured for it. Optionally, you can also use the physical Ethernet port and map it to an individual SGRE or Ruckus GRE tunnel as well. And we'll show you how to do that later in this demo. So this gives you a visual representation of exactly what we're talking about here. You can have a public venue or an environment simply where you have wireless LANs configured, and each one of those will terminate or forward its data plane traffic towards its configured gateway. You can have up to 4. You can have a Ruckus GRE tunnel and then up to 3 soft GRE tunnels that can all terminate at a different gateway, as you can see here in this demonstration. So now that we've explained that, let's go ahead and get into Smart Zone and show you exactly how this is configured. So as you can see, we have a simple environment here in our Smart Zone just to be able to provide these demos. And you can see specifically we're using the version 5.0. So how we configure this is we first go into the Services and Profile tabs, and then we go down to the Tunnels and Ports section. From there, we'll see a tab up at the top that says Soft GRE. We click on that, and you can see one has already been configured here. We're going to go ahead and configure another one. We can put in a description. You can see the gateway IP mode as well, v4, v6, and then we can put in a primary gateway address. We can also put in a secondary. So if there were a failover needed, we can allow it to fail over, or it will fail over to the secondary if that primary becomes disabled. You can see there's some other options here that we can configure for this soft GRE, just allowing you to customize this port or this tunnel based on your needs and preferences. So once we have configured the soft GRE, we can now associate it on a zone in a particular access point. So we're going to go into the access point first. We're going to choose the zone, of course configure it by clicking the configure button. And then we're going to go down and we're going to select the soft GREs or the GRE tunnels that we want associated with this. So here we see that we have the Ruckus GRE profile, which is the default tunnel, but we can also now click on the select button, and you can see that the soft GREs that we have configured are now displayed in this section. We can click on these and we can add them to the right, and this is simply saying these particular GRE tunnels are available for selection on any of the SSIDs or wireless LANs that we have configured within this zone. Now that we have configured this underneath the zone of this particular access point, those soft GREs would be available for data plane forwarding for any wireless LANs that are configured underneath that zone. So let's go to the wireless LANs. We will click on that zone again. We will create a new wireless LAN. And then we'll be able to go down to the data plane options. We'll turn this on. And then we'll be able to select from the GRE tunnels, the soft GRE tunnels that we have now configured. We can select one here, push OK. And then we could even go up to this other existing wireless LAN. We can push configure here. Scroll down to it, and we could actually select a different tunnel for it. We could push demo 2 for it. Push OK. So now we have two wireless LANs underneath this zone that are occupying or taking advantage of the two tunnels that we have configured. You can see both are showing or indicating that they're tunneled. An additional option that you have is that you can apply these soft GRE tunnels that you've configured to the physical port of the AP as well. The way we do that is we go back to the Tunnels tab, and then we go to the Ethernet port tab, and then we create a new Ethernet port, allowing us to associate that with the new soft GRE tunnels we've created. We can select the type of it, whether it be a trunk, access port, general. Let's go ahead and do it as an access port. And then down below, we're going to click on the tunnel Ethernet port traffic. Now for these to be displayed within this section, these soft GREs have to be configured as well as associated with this particular zone. If they're not, then you will not see them in this drop-down list, allowing us to be able to select them. However, since I went under that zone and configured it and allowed us to add these particular soft GREs to it, therefore it does allow us to have it in this drop-down list. We can select the one we so choose, push OK. And then when we go back to that access point, we then can select it, click on Configure. We'll go down to the model specific options you see here. And as we drop down on this secondary LAN port, in this drop down list, we can now see that Ethernet configuration or the Ethernet port that we have just configured. In the drop down list, we can select it, push OK, and so now any physical traffic or any traffic that is connected to that physical port would also be tunneled through that soft GRE that we have just configured. One other thing I like to point out and make sure you understand is that the IPsec is mutually exclusive on these. So if you were to notice, when we go back to the zone configuration, we click on it, we go to configure. If you are wanting to do IPsec options, you can see here the note below. It says the soft GRE plus IPsec can only be supported when there's one soft GRE profile. So that is the current limitation on this, is that if you want to issue or want to configure IPsec along with it, you can only have one soft GRE configured on this, allowing for you to be able to have IPsec profile selected. And with that, it completes the demo of the multi-tunnels for each AP. I hope you enjoyed this and found it worthwhile. I do encourage you to look at the other videos that we have in this series, providing you additional details of the new features that are being represented or presented in Smart Zone OS 5. Thanks for watching.